Hey, Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 253 of Chasing Dreams, which, honestly, I didn't know we would be back. You guys asked for it. We're back. We had an amazing episode in 252 with my boys, Jam and Philly. If you haven't watched and listened to that, please do. They had some experience that I think people will relate to and what they're going through. And so, before I brought more amazing guests to talk to you guys, I wanted to kind of get on the mic and level set with you about something. One of the reasons I didn't come back was I was experimenting with different things. I was trialing and erroring, maybe mostly erroring for things, because that's what life is. Life is trying things and figuring it out and going back and forth. And the thing is, I had a realization in that time period. In those months, I had a realization, not about chasing dreams. You guys asked for it. We came back, but about life. I want to talk to you and share with you a lesson I learned or a realization. I've talked about it here and there, but I think this is the first time I'm actually kind of calling it out for what it is and challenging you with that lesson. And hopefully, because I've kind of come to terms with this, you guys can cut through the hard work of figuring it out and embrace it early on in your life, right? Or today. If you're listening to the episode and you don't get why I say today, listen to the episode again. So there's a lot of things that dictated the things that happened in my life. A lot of events and people and obstacles, I don't know. But one of the things in looking back and reflecting, which is how you figure out what happened, right, scientifically, is I realized that it was societal norms and stereotypes. That's right, guys. I was a victim of societal norms and stereotypes. And I think a lot of us are. And we don't realize it until later on in life. And then we look back and we're like, I didn't really want to do that anyway. But you have been pushed in that direction and you think, hey, this is what I want, but it's really not what you want until you reflect and you realize, that wasn't what I wanted. How did I get down that path? And it's unconscious moves, unconscious nudges that push you down and you don't realize it. And it's never, it's almost never with malicious intent. It's almost never with someone wanting bad for you. Okay. It's with good intentions that people are like, hey, this is the best path for you. This is the direction you should go. This is probably the thing that will make you happy. Well, how do they know that? How do they know what will make you happy? Do you know what will make you happy? If you don't know, how do they know? Right? Did they get that confirmation from you? Did you tell them that's what you wanted? And it's this unconscious nudging that I think has thrown a lot of us off the path we want to be on. It's this unconscious nudging because of societal norms and stereotypes, right? So there is a Asian Indian in Toronto. Her name is, let me make sure I hope I pronounce it correctly, Urbi Roy. And she is a 46-year-old Indian skater. She started skating in her 40s. And she started skating in her 40s because that's not what you do when you're in your 20s or 30s as an Indian woman or girl or young lady. You don't do that. But in her 40s, she was like, you know what? I really want to learn this. I've always wanted to learn this. I'm going to learn this. And she brushed aside those nudges, right? Because culturally, it was not accepted. And she brushed it aside and said, I'm going to do this. And she did it. And she is making a movement of showing people what happens and trying to defy and shut down those kinds of stereotypes. And she's doing an amazing on it. She's on TikTok, Instagram. I'll try and put the link in the description and show notes so you can see it. But that's what I'm talking about. She figured that out in her 40s. Imagine the joy she would find in her life if she did it earlier, right? And it is what it is. That's where she lands, but she's doing what she's doing in showcasing her experience to help people like you, the listener, the viewer, not have to go through that. She wants to save you time. She wants you to start today, right? Thinking about earlier isn't going to help. We are where we are. It is what it is. Now what do we do? That's how we need to think. Don't think about regrets. Don't think about, oh man, I wish I could, right? The ifs will twist you up and prevent you from moving forward. That's the other thing. So the thing about societal norms and stereotypes is it's everywhere. It's in almost everything. For example, the pressure to have your life figured out by 30. What? The world, society, your culture, people, TV shows make you think that you have to have it all figured out by 30. Here's the plan. And I'm sure you have heard it from someone. You have to go to college. You have to get a degree. Then you get a job. After you get the job, you get married. After you get married, you have kids if you're so lucky to do so. And if you do it by 30, that is the bonus point. That is the true success of life. And then what? What happens after that? Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Somewhere in the early 1900s, the 20s, the 30s, the whatever, people have said this is the formula for happiness. And they never asked people if that's what they wanted. They never asked, is this what will make you happy? And suddenly it's become the formula across everything. And here's the thing. We accept it because we think they're right. Nobody has challenged that norm. Nobody has challenged. People who are challenging it may be doing so unknowingly, which is awesome, but they're also still getting pressure, right? Pressure to meet that. Pressure to go on dates. Pressure to find someone to get married to, right? As an Indian, people have been wanting me, my sisters, to get married since we were 21, right? And as I was young, I truly believed in the arranged marriage system. It worked for my parents, the grandparents, et cetera, et cetera. And I've seen so many happy and healthy marriages from that. I have also now seen some that do not work out. But at the time, I believe in it. And I was like, you know what? Arranged marriage is really like blind dating when you're ready to get married. That's how I believed it. And I think I still do. If that is what happens, it's just blind dating. But it didn't work out. I met people. It just didn't work out. But as I got older, people were like, there's something wrong with me that I didn't get married. Me? Yeah, no. I was either too much of a A-type personality, or I was too fat, or I was too career oriented, or going to school too much, right? It was all on me. Well, maybe that wasn't the plan. Maybe that's not the plan for me at that time. But nobody thought about that. I didn't even think about that. I thought that that was the thing. And I thought I was failing at life because I wasn't getting married or finding someone in my 20s. Y'all, I'm being honest and raw here. That's kind of how it was in your 20s. And I've told this story before. I was 26 when I left what people thought was my dream job at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Amazing job, amazing people, but it wasn't the right fit for me. It didn't feel right. And I took a chance, trusted my gut, and I told my parents and my family, and I said, this isn't it. This isn't it for me. Right? And everyone was like, what? What? And here's the thing we have to understand. When I say people don't do these things with malicious intent, I mean it. People want you to be happy. The only thing is their idea of happiness is what others are telling them. It's what they see on TV. It's what they hear from other people who have succeeded, quote unquote, in their life. And so when our parents came from India, when your parents came from Africa, when they came from China or Korea or the Philippines, wherever, or if they're here, they're like, what is it that makes you happy? This is it. Getting a steady job, getting a governmental job, getting something where you don't have to worry about money is what you need. Getting that education is what you have to do. That's how it comes together, because they didn't know any better. Right? Their biggest fear is you hurting. A parent's biggest fear is you struggling and hurting. And the thing is, we have to fight that societal norm. Life is all about a fight. There are ups, there are downs, there are little rocks that get in our way. Sometimes we have to jump over things. Sometimes we have to build a bridge, right? That's what life is. And the thing is, society has put this timeline on us and said, hey, if you don't do this by, like, you have to have it figured out in your 20s. You don't. You don't. Knock that out now. You do not have to have your life figured out in your 20s. You do not have to have your life figured out in your 30s. You have to live your life to the fullest. Figure it out. Life is about figuring it out, right? How many unspoken dreams and fulfillment have died because nobody has pursued them? That's a sad thought to me, right? That there are some people out there who have dreams of becoming an astronaut, but didn't, because they didn't think a woman could do it. That some people want to be a chef, but it's not masculine enough. I don't know. Or if people wanted to be a makeup artist and they're a guy, and it's like, guys don't do that. They can. There are amazing makeup artists who are guys, or costume designers, or businessmen who are women, and we don't talk about this enough, guys. The world is full of possibilities. There is no limit on what you can do, right? There are female police officers, female SWAT members, but it's not, people don't talk about that because it's not normal or often seen. But for those pioneers who pushed their way because they had it in their heart, they wanted to do it, and they pushed their way, we now have an example of that. So you have to fight for your dreams, fight to figure out what you want, because it's not always in the plan that others are setting before you or in front of you. And it's never too late to pivot. Let's make something clear. You can always pivot. It will not be easy, but it will be worthwhile. It will not be easy, but it will be worthwhile. Because there is no timeline on your life. I was rewatching, and everyone's like, why are you so surprised by this? I was rewatching Boy Meets World. And that show came on when I was in my teens. And I thought, hey, the parents in Boy Meets World are old. They're old. Like, they don't understand, they're old. And I was like, today years old, when I realized they're my age. They were in their 40s, early 40s. And I'm like, that's not old. But we keep hearing that parents are old, children are young. Time is relative. Age is just a number in certain situations. This is one of them. You are all young at heart. It is never too late for you to try something. You want to go back to school? Do it. You want a new learn technique? Do it. You want to try something that nobody's really done before? Do it. Do it. Because there is no timeline. You are not old. I feel young. I feel so friggin' young. But everyone's like, but you're in your 40s. Come on now. What? You don't know my life. You don't know how I feel. I'm telling you, I feel young. So you feel how you feel. You have to decide, but you're not old, because what is old? What is old? So think about that, because I think we get these we have these societal norms and stereotypes because of people, because of what we see on TV, because of what we see in movies, because of what generations have told us. And I'm not here to say that generations are wrong, but that's what they had. Doesn't mean we can't challenge what they're saying, right? There are people who don't want to have kids. And if that's the case, they shouldn't have kids. And there are some people who want to have kids and don't realize that you can adopt, you can foster kids. There are other ways. There are methods that aren't always talked about or normalized, but they're out there, right? Surrogates. You can get help. And sometimes we don't want to. We're like, it's admitting weakness. No, help is a good thing. Help is an amazing thing. Ask for help. Find a way. If it's truly in your heart's desire, find a way. Okay? Because there are things, right? I was talking to a friend and I was like, hey, so in every high school TV show I'm seeing, everyone is having sex. Like they're in school doing it left and right. I'm like, is that how schools are now? That wasn't how schools were when I went to school, which I hate that I had to say that sentence, but it wasn't like that. I mean, it was happening, but not at the rate that the TV and movies are making it seem like. And he was someone who had just gotten out of school, high school. And I was like, no, it was nothing like that. And I'm like, one, I'm reassured, but this is what I'm saying. Like, TV is making it seem like that is the thing to do. That is the thing to have. So people who don't want to, or are feeling like they want to abstain until they're ready, feel pressured. You have to be true to yourself. Okay? Don't let other people tell you what is normal or what is right. You have to figure it out. The bottom line is, this is your life. This is your life. There are things that we have to do in life, right? There are things that life will not prepare you for, like taxes. People don't prepare you for that kind of stuff. But there are things that we have to figure out on our own. That's what life is. If you don't want to go to college, that is an option. Not going to college may or may not be the right decision, but you have to make that decision. What is your situation? Not what other people are telling you is your situation, but what is your situation in your words? All right. So people are going to be like, Aimee Chechi said, I don't have to go to college. I didn't say that. What I said was, you have to figure out what is right for you. I think the college experience is wonderful because it has helped me to grow as an individual in my relationships, in my networking capabilities, in my speaking, in learning life skills, a lot of it. It's an expensive way to learn life skills, but it also helped me learn and get tools in my belt that are helping me today. I may not be using them, but they help me. Here's the thing. Is college the problem, or is making the choice of what degree to take the problem? Because I don't know what the statistic is today, but a large percentage of people, I think at the time it was like 70% of people who leave college never use their degree again. That's crazy. I'm one of them, though. I'm one of them. But that's crazy, right? Because others may have directed you to that degree that you've chosen. For me, I used my degree in a different way. And so I'm fine with that. I just use it in a different way. But there are some people who go for chemistry and they hate chemistry. They hate research, but they did it because a science field is steady. Well, guys, if you're into the arts, do the arts. If you're into if your background, everyone's into the arts and people are going into science and you want to do science and you're like, I've never really given it a shot, go for science. Do you see the pattern that I'm talking about? You have to make your decisions. When you figure out what you want to do in college, it's your choice. I want you to be empowered. I want you to empower your children, the next generation, that it is their life and they have to figure it out. Teach them the life skills. Teach them how to trial and error. Teach them how to experiment, to try different things. You know, if they tell you, hey, I love gymnastics, and you never take them to gymnastics, you take them to soccer because that's the thing people do. You take them to tennis because that's the thing people do, but you never do gymnastics because Indians don't do gymnastics. Did we lose out on our first amazing Indian gymnastics. There's plenty of Indian gymnastics. I'm not saying that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, are we missing out on someone whose future is in gymnastics? Maybe. Could we have missed a pioneer in a field because we didn't expose them to that? If they didn't get a chance to experiment with their love of that, maybe. And that's sad to me. How many dreams go unrealized? How many people do not pursue what they love and are passionate about because of what other people say or may think? Life is supposed to be bumpy. Life is supposed to be bumpy. So if you take something, you go in a direction, and suddenly it's like, I'm not hearing from anyone. No one's giving me a job. I can't find anything. Then pivot. Try something different. See if that was really what was meant to be. Go outside of the box you've placed yourself in or that someone else has placed you in. Go outside and see what will happen to you. Try it. Try it, because amazing things happen when you don't let fear hold you back, when you don't let others and their expectations hold you back. One of the things that Orby Roy said, the Indian auntie who skateboards, is that it has made her a better mother. It has made her a better person and a better mother when she fulfilled her dream and passion. There is a misunderstanding for people. People think everyone kind of figures it out in your 20s. You don't. Can you guys please let that go? You don't. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about a few people. All right. So Colonel Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, he was 62. Oprah was 32 when she got her show. Ken Jeong was a doctor before he became the man we know from The Hangover, before we know him from Crazy Rich Asians, from Dr. Ken, etc. Right? He is someone who didn't figure it out. He was figuring it out while he was in med school and afterwards. So at the age of 29, he made that difficult decision of, hey, I'm going to try both and see what happens. Because he wanted to be a doctor. He loves being a doctor, right? He's just not practicing now. But he balanced both until he had to make a decision. But he pursued both passions, right? It doesn't always have to be full time. Find a way to incorporate things you love and see what happens. If he never did that, we would never have an amazing man in Hollywood paving the way for other Asians. Right? Stan Lee, the father of Marvel Comics, 39. Samuel L. Jackson was 46. Morgan Freeman always had a love for theater in high school, college, etc. Well, he went to the Air Force instead. And it was at the age of 50 that he really got his first break in acting. I thought this man had been doing it for years upon years throughout his life. Nope. He was 50. All right. Toni Morrison was 39 when she had her first publication. She had been working on it. She'd been going for it. 39. So you think that you have to have it figured out. You don't. Life is crazy. You don't know when it'll hit. But what's important is that you start today with living your life authentically, making the hard decisions. Take a step back, figure out, am I happy with where I am right now? Are the choices I've made my own? Right? It's okay that people give you their thoughts and opinions. The problem is when you make it your own, you adopt it as your own, when it's not really what you believe in. That's the problem. Okay? And I want to close out with this one idea and concept because, we struggle with this. People who wear multiple hats. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a husband, you're a father, you're an uncle, you're an aunt, you're a grandparent, you're a sibling, right? You're wearing all these different hats. You're a manager at a job. You coach, right? You have all these different hats. You have to put your own hat first. You have to take care of you. That's why Orby Roy said, when I did what I loved, when I started skateboarding, it made me a better mother. When you take care of your own desires, your own passions, when you try to figure out what it is you need and want and do it, that's when you start living authentically. That's when you start living as yourself. And that is what will make you a better spouse, a better parent, a better uncle or aunt, grandparent, coach, teacher, manager, boss, right? Employee. That is what will make you a better person, is when you live authentically as yourself. Because if you can't do that, how can you be better at anything else? That's the first hat you put on. That's who you are. It's actually not even a hat. It's who you are when you get out of bed before you start putting hats on. Because at the end of the day, you're taking all those hats off and it's just you. At the end of your life, it's just you. You have to take care of you. And I know there's a struggle with, I don't have time because I have to wear all these hats. You have to figure it out and make time, even if it's just 30 minutes, to do what you need for yourself. Self-care is super, super real, and I need you to do it. I need you to take care of you. Okay? A lot of you put off this stuff, but there is a way. It may not be easy, it may not be smooth, but there is a way for you to follow your passions and then help everybody else. And here's why it's important. Because this next generation of children, of nieces and nephews and grandchildren, of employees, of students, of players, they are seeing what you're doing and they think that is normal. You see the cycle of norms and stereotypes? It's not always intentional with how people do it, but they're seeing you and they think this is what life is. This is what I have to look forward to. Show them that life is what you make it. Life is about figuring out your wants, your desires, your needs, getting it right, but more often getting it wrong. But the journey that you take for it, that is dream chasing. That is what I want for you guys. All right. So as you're on this road, as you're trying to figure this stuff out, I know I always introduce myself as Aimee J, but think of me as your Chechi, which in Malayalam we think of as older sister. All right. So your Aimee Chechi is telling you, take some time right now and figure out what you need. And if you're struggling, message me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out, because there is a way for you to do stuff. There is a way for you to be happy and work on things. Okay. If you're like, hey, I can't, there's no time to exercise and because I have kids, exercise with your kids. Have you tried that? Have you thought about that? Like, there are answers that just may not be conventional or that you're used to. And I want to get you there. All right. And I know some of you are like, my parents aren't going to like this. I know. It was scary telling my parents I was leaving NASA. It was scary. And there's always negative possibilities. But once I did, it wasn't as bad as I made it in my head. And once I did that, things started looking up for me. I felt this weight on my shoulder that lifts, right? You have to go through that. You're going to have to go through that gauntlet of things. But when you do, when you come out, because you will come out, things will look better. I've been using the analogy of bumps on the road. That's life. Things will happen. Sometimes not always good. You got to get up, pick yourself up, and keep moving. One foot in front of another. The world needs you at your most authentic self. That's what we need. Okay? So that's what I wanted to share. I want you to challenge the societal norms and stereotypes that are facing you, because I want you to figure out what you want and not what others want. I want you to live your life, not the life others have defined for you. Okay? All right? And I'm not saying you have to jump in 100%. Wade in the water. Start wading in the water and then keep moving until you swim. Okay? That it's going to take time, but work on it. All right? I'm telling you, You can do it. It will bring you happiness and joy. And it's never too late because you are all young people. So whether you're in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, I don't care. You can always pivot and figure out what it is. One of the biggest regrets, the people who die, those who are dying, is not living the life they wanted. Take the lesson that they are sharing and apply it to your life today. Live the life you want. All right, Dream Chasers. If you need to chat, I'm here. Message me. I'm on socials. Hit me up. Happy to chat. And know that, you can do it. I believe in you. If you're struggling with belief in yourself, I believe in you. Okay? All right, Dream Chasers. If you missed any of that, you can always find the notes on the show notes page over at aimeej21.com/episode 253. That's episode 253. Until next time, remember, don't stop. Keep chasing.